Hello, everyone. Greg Turner and myself are here. We're excited to be doing this webinar with you.
Hey guys, totally pumped, fired up, ready to teach, ready to give you all the goods about how to write and publish your own book.
Oh, and we have so much information. I can't believe it. Okay, this is awesome. Well, you can see us there on the screen. Sorry, we don't have our lovely faces on the screen, but we do have tons of info, so we're sharing it to you through our PowerPoint.
I'm sure you didn't come to see our faces anyway.
Well, they're right there on the screen, right?
Yeah,
Okay, awesome, awesome. So, Greg, you can go ahead.
sure. Let's go right into the goods here. So what does having a book do for you, and why are we talking about doing a book? One of the reasons why we put this together is because we can share from our own experience. We've seen what being an author has done for our business. We've seen how being an author has taken us from being invisible to being visible in our industry and has given us so much credibility and has brought so much growth to our business that we recommend this every day to the people that we work with who are looking to take their business to the next level. That being an author is one of the most powerful ways of putting yourself in front of a lot of people in a short period of time. And it's done so much for us. Randy can attest to that as well. She's an author as well. We're both authors of our own books, and that's why we put this together, because this is something that did wonders for us, and it will do wonders for you.
Fantastic. Love it. Well, a book can do so many things for you. So before we get into some of the steps of actually publishing a book and what your options are, we wanted to talk to you a little bit about what can a book do for you and why would you even want to have a book. So I think that's imperative. If you don't really know, then it makes it more difficult for you to actually get started. So, but when you understand the benefits and how it can benefit you personally and through business, it makes it a little more motivating to give you that kick in the tush to get going, right?
Definitely, definitely. And if you asked me a year before I published my first book, I published my first book in 2014, and if you told me in 2013 that I would be an author and that would be a big part of my business, I would laugh you out of the room. I would think you're so funny and you're probably just patronizing me and making fun of me, because I didn't think I had anything to say or anything to share. I knew I had talent and skills and a lot of qualifications that I've that has translated into me being an entrepreneur, but I just didn't think that it was something that I could write about. And you're probably in the same situation where you're thinking, yeah, I know a lot of stuff, but I have no idea what I'm going to write about.
Mm-hmm.
And don't worry, because that's where I started. That's where Randy started, and a lot of people that I know, that's where they started as well. And a lot of authors that I know started in this, having the same conversation, thinking, well, what am I going to write about? and in this conversation, we're going to show you how you can translate what's in your head into not just one book, but multiple books.
Fantastic. So there's so many things, and we're going to go through a ton of them, but you can be creating passive income for yourself through book sales, through licensing deals, through all sorts of different methods.
Hmm.
And, you know, it's such an incredible piece of marketing for
Hmm.
you and for your business. And, when you want to draw more people to your website or draw more people to you on social media, you can be using your book to add that credibility to bring people towards you. Of course, getting more referrals, and the more you're out there, the more media you're going to pick up as well and get a much larger following. You can start adding these people to your email marketing system and start putting them through your sales funnel, communicating with them, start to lead them to courses or programs that you might have, or your next book, or whatever it is, and keep upselling them or drawing them closer to you, whatever it is your goal is, in order to increase the business or the relationships that you're looking for.
Right. And one of the things that a book will also do for you, it will increase your visibility to the point where you're not just someone who can offer a service through your business. People are going to see you as an authority, and they're going to want you to speak to that. And one of the things that's opened up for myself and Randy is it's speaking engagements. It's one of the easiest ways to reach a large number of people. It's actually just being invited to speak in front of a room. And a book is a great way of putting yourself in a position that you can be in front of large audiences, sharing your knowledge, and of course having those large audiences convert into paying clients as a result of you presenting to them.
Which is
Also,
vital in business,
very,
right?
very vital, very vital. If a friend of ours, Byron Nelson, he said that in order to grow your business every day, you need to be speaking to 25 people. And
Hmm.
imagine if you could speak to 25 people in a single hour. And that's what speaking does, right? You can
Or
be in front of,
more, yeah.
or more, hundreds, even. Yeah, exactly, exactly. So you can speak, you can have 4 days worth of conversation in a single hour just by speaking and being an author and being seen as an authority because you're an author
Hmm.
puts you in a position where people want to hear you speak.
Exactly. They want to hear
Yeah.
what you have to say. You're brave enough to write it on paper and publicize
Hmm.
it. And now, yeah.
Yeah.
So it opens the door for all these wonderful speaking engagements, but it also opens the door for travel because people all over the world
Hmm.
will see your promotions online through social media and various other forms. You may be advertising through Google AdWords or Facebook ads or whatnot. But, and you can have people from all over the world promoting you. Anybody can buy off Amazon, so if
Hmm.
you're there, which I don't know why you wouldn't be,
Hmm.
you could be picking up engagements. Like Greg, you just taught in the US, you were just there.
Hmm.
We've been to various cities in the U.S. and it's awesome the opportunities that are there.
Definitely, definitely. And of course, the result that comes from that is rapid career advancement. You could be invisible, as I said earlier, and be one of the pack, so to speak, where in business it's never good to blend in. You want to stand out at all times. And being an author, it's still something that a lot of people may hear about, but very few people will actually take action on. So when you actually take this step to put your knowledge on paper in written format, in printed format, it opens the door to rapid career advancements. And we're going to attest to how it's advanced our careers and also led to our business growing. And that's really what we want as entrepreneurs. And even if we're not running a business, so to speak, we may have causes that we care about. It could be a charity or a nonprofit, for example. And what better way to put your message in front of a large amount of people who you've never even met, than writing a book.
Exactly. Exactly. And it also allows you to, and you don't have to, but it allows you to raise your speaking fees or your consulting fees. It increases your credibility so that the perceived value that people are getting is much higher when you've written a book or
Hmm.
written any kind of published material. So everything just elevates to the next level, right?
Agreed. Agreed. Totally.
So writing a brand building book, taking it a few steps deeper
Hmm.
and elevating a little bit.
Hmm. So
You're you're attracting your pre-qualified prospects, right?
yeah, yeah, exactly. So writing a brand building book. So a lot of us will ask the question. It's normal to ask, well, what am I going to write about? And for me, there's probably a lot of things I could write about, but when I decided to write my book, I chose to write about a book that will be related to my business and the services that I offer through my business. And the reason is very important. Whatever you write about, you're going to attract to yourself. So, for example, if I wrote a book about how much I love dogs, for example,
Mm-hmm.
then I'll get a lot of people will be asking me about dogs and pets and so forth. And my business has nothing to do with pets or dogs unless I'm marketing a company that caters to dog owners or something, right? My
Mm-hmm.
business is marketing, and I help my clients with social media and branding.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to write a book that was specifically related to who it is that I'm trying to help in my business. And what that does, it allows the conversation a conversation to begin around my book and around my business, and it opens the door to opportunity. And that's the reason why it's important to think about your brand when you're writing the book. What do you want to be known as, and how does that relate back to your goals as an entrepreneur and as a business owner?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. So it's also improving your skills, right?
Hmm.
Improving a lot of skills that we write for everything. Like you don't even think about what you're writing for. You don't even realize you write emails, you
Hmm.
write texts, you write articles, you write procedures, you write notifications to people, you write posts on social media on various different platforms and different kind of writing. You write in so many different ways that this is elevating your skills, like,
Definitely.
and your communication skills. So this just elevates you at the business level and the personal level, like unbelievable. Uh, you know.
Yeah, definitely. From a skills perspective, what writing my book did for me, it forced me to take what I know and actually articulate it in a very structured format. So in a conversation with a potential client, I'll talk about my business, but it's not very scripted. So maybe I'll say things that I want to say. Maybe I say things that I didn't plan on saying. And it's more just a free flowing conversation. But
Hmm.
unless I'm recording that conversation, I'm not going to really learn a lot from it, right? Because I'm not going to hear that conversation again. It's in the past.
Hmm.
So when I was writing the book, I had to put everything that I knew about this topic on paper. And not only that, it encouraged me to reinforce what I thought by actually going and start looking at, well, what other people in the industry are saying, what other sources can I use to bring across my point. So
Hmm.
in doing that, I discovered new resources that I could use to help my business and to help me to develop my skills as an entrepreneur. And that was really important. So there's sources that I refer in my book, for example, that that I probably didn't know about them before I started writing my book. And that's a great way of enhancing our skills. That's enhancing what we know that we are applying to our business. It's a great way of doing that. And from a tools perspective, the result of that is that I got a much better understanding of my business as well when I started writing this book, because now I had to ask myself very specific questions like, how am I communicating with the person that's going to read this book? How is it going to help them to grow? And of course, how is this conversation going to help my business to grow? So it really helped me to fine tune my focus um, about my business and about my customers as well.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. And it's so funny because I'll tell you that when I was writing for the first book, Empowering Women to Succeed, Tough
Hmm.
Times Don't Last, but Tough Women Do. Um, I just couldn't sit down and start writing. Like I couldn't discipline myself to sit down and start to do it. And then Jenny says to me, why don't you come to my course? She had a 1-day course, and I went over to Burlington and joined in on her course. And once I started to write, it
Hmm.
just wouldn't stop flowing. I wrote 3,000 words as
Wow.
she's teaching her course. I couldn't stop writing, and she's just laughing at me, going, keep going, keep
Hmm.
going. You've got to go and just keep going. But the discipline to do it, once you start, sometimes it's hard to get going. And I know people talk about writer's block and that kind of thing. But once you really get into it and start going, the flow, it just starts happening. And you tend to really discipline yourself. You get excited about it, and now you've got the content flowing. I'm going
Hmm.
to go through a few of these points together, because
Hmm.
now the content is flowing,
Hmm.
and it's an abundance of content that you're getting out there. And of course, the content goes along with the skills that you're developing. All these things tie in together because you're improving on them as you go. And
Hmm.
it helps with the confidence, the curiosity, your perspective, because when you're writing and you're rereading and you're going over and adding and subtracting and whatnot, it's got your brain going in overdrive, and you're you're looking at how people are going to perceive things, and what message do you want to get across to them, and who's your target audience. So you're thinking about all these things to make sure that you're talking their language, right? Because it's not you who's reading the story, you're writing the story, but it's the reader who's going to enjoy the story. So all these things come into play when we are going to put together some kind of compilation, but it's also building on all these tools and all these senses that you have around you.
Hmm.
It just exaggerates them and builds upon them.
And Claudia is one of the authors so Claudia Harvey, her background, she went on the Dragon's Den, which is a entrepreneurship program on national TV here in Canada. It's equivalent to Shark Tank in the US. And what she was able to successfully do, and probably less than 1% of the people on that show is able to do that, is she was able to get a a venture capitalist to fund her business.
Not
And
just anyone, Greg.
yeah, the toughest one.
Yeah, the toughest one, Mr. Wonderful, Kevin O'Leary.
That's right. That's right. What did it do for her? What did being an author do for her, Randy?
Oh my goodness. You know what? She, it's incredible because we had her speaking at some smaller events. And at one of those events, she was introduced to someone who asked her to MC Donald Trump's right hand guy, and I forget his name, I apologize, one of his events here in Toronto. And she, you know, she had authored the book, and they asked her to be one of their main speakers. So she actually got to speak on that stage, which was phenomenal. But it's opened so many doors,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
To clients, to opportunity, to speaking gigs. She went with us to Chicago. We did a speaking course there. She was introduced to another couple of incredible gentlemen. She was asked to speak in Las Vegas. So,
Hmm.
she's getting around.
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah, she's getting around.
Have one observation too about her experience, because that speaking opportunity didn't come because she was on TV. It came because she was an author. Because
Exactly.
there's a lot of people on TV. There's a lot of people who go on that show. Very few actually have success on that show, and she's one of the few who does. But what having her book did for her is it gave the organizer of these events, the organizers of these events, the opportunity to promote her. So if you say as seen on TV, that's great maybe, but the show is gone. No one can look it up anymore. But when you're promoting someone and they have a book to their name, I can go online, go on Amazon, and look this person up and see what their book is about, and that's going to build my curiosity and get and actually build my excitement to see this person speak. So that's what the book did for her as well. It elevated her business even more than being on TV did.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And we all know that Oprah is constantly, she has her own little book club.
Mhm.
And Suzanne Hart, who you may not know, who is very successful in network marketing, she wrote a book which has nothing to do with the network marketing company that she's in, but this book, she's developed a very successful business, and she's done it by helping people build leadership and character and whatnot so that they can be really good leaders and help other people. So what's amazing about Suzanne Hart is that her not only did her network marketing companies support her and promote her and start putting her on stage because she set herself up as an expert and a leader in the industry, but other companies have asked her to come and speak. So the doors of opportunity have opened so wide for her,
Mhm.
all because she wrote this book and showed people that she's an expert in this field. It's amazing.
Definitely. And if you're a network marketer, that industry is so competitive. No matter what business you're working in,
Hmm.
there's if in any successful network marketing company, there's always going to be a lot of people out there who are going out and following the same training and doing the exact same thing that you've been told to do. And once again, you're swimming in the sea of sameness. Like, you don't stand out. So for her, as a professional in this field, using this book definitely put her at a completely different level in her business. Now, as you said, she's seen as a leader, and she has a reach and a brand that extends way beyond the company that she's working within. She's her own independent brand, and the book's a big part of that.
Absolutely. And it adds huge credibility to your business. It also helps her building her brand.
Mhm.
So it also helps to increase your lead generation, right?
Oh
And prospective clients and uh, possible business that you could be increasing on.
yeah. Hmm.
It's an income producing tool. It's
Definitely.
you can be marketing forever about your book. Books don't die ever, right?
That's right. That's right.
And
Some of the most popular books that we read today, in the world of business, for example, there's books like Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. That book was written over 60 years ago, right?
yeah, unreal.
Yeah, yeah. So
It's
their
like,
brand and their legacy lives on way beyond them as or their existence on on this planet.
and
So
those books are like Bibles, right?
yeah, exactly.
People keep them close.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you can get massive support for events that you do. Of
Hmm.
course, you stand out from your competition,
Hmm.
definitely by having a book. And you, of course, like as we already mentioned, you set yourself up as an expert or the go-to person. So you're drawing people towards you. The prestige and credibility. as a published author. We all know that.
Mhm.
And it's an an absolutely incredible add-on benefit that speaking engagements. You can either be giving them away for free. An organization may hire you and want to buy your book in lieu of a speaking fee and give it out to their audience. So I know there's events that do that. They'll buy like 3,000 books and give them out. So everybody ends up getting a book. They love it.
Mhm.
And it's an absolutely impressive business card, don't you think, Greg?
Oh yeah, totally.
Like totally. And I don't know why I got kicked out.
Oh, yep, we got disconnected. It's okay. We're having too much fun here, so Google had to
There you go.
interject.
Okay, so it adds, like, if you don't have letters at the end of your name, if you
Mhm.
didn't finish a degree in something, well, now you've got letters at the end of your name.
Yep.
What letters do you have?
Author. That's
Woohoo!
author.
Now you're an author.
That's right.
Oh, okay, that's awesome.
It's funny though because as a you could actually attract more business by being an author than being a PhD. In fact,
So true, right?
there's popular authors out there like say Dr. Phil. Not
Mhm,
yeah, he's a popular author and he's a psychologist, right?
mhm,
And he's popular because he's so well branded and being an author came before he even had his TV show.
mhm.
And tell me who's the most popular author in at I don't know, Harvard University or Harvard School of Medicine, the most popular psychologist at these schools. Unless you're in that field, you probably don't know.
It's true, right?
Right. In fact, and so the author can actually fill a room or fill a stadium a lot quicker than someone who has a PhD behind their name but nothing else. So, so
Exactly. So, do I have your permission, Greg, to tell a little bit of your book story?
sure, go ahead.
Okay, so the whole reason that we got connected to you, Greg, is because of your book, right?
That's right.
It's totally because of your book. Well, you came to one of our events and you came with your book. You went to my business partner, Gordon So, and told him how much you were enjoying the show and offered him a gift. And the gift was your book. And you had recently published it and you were all excited to share it. And Gordon promised you that he would read your book. And neither one of us knew you. And Gordon happened to be going away at the time. He promised he was going to read it on the plane, and he did. And of course, when he came back, the relationship started to build. But now we're speaking with you on stage, doing webinars with you, doing Udemy courses, and all kinds of different things
Mhm.
are coming up. And that was all because you handed the right person, like a person of influence, a gift, and that was your book.
That's right. That's right. And what has that done for me? Like you said, we're doing so much work together, and I remember I can tell a story about when I was writing my book. So when I first wrote my book, I had well, it wasn't published yet, so I had all the content written, and I was keeping it almost a secret, where only the closest people to me knew that I was writing a book, and I was procrastinating like never before. I was on that island all by myself, and I went through a process where someone just pointed out how small I was being by keeping it to myself and not sharing my knowledge, and part of my training was, put everything on social media that you're doing, and just let things, like especially in business, put it out there, and just let's see what happens, right? And so I had to get over that fear of all the newness, and just being uncertain, like, is this the right move to make? I just made the decision. I took that same picture that you have there of my book cover, and I just published it. I just posted it on Facebook, and that lit the fire for me, because before my book even came out, now I was being asked to be a part of things that I didn't even think I could be a part of. Before my book came out, I was on the radio. I was on AM 640, where I was able to promote my upcoming book, and it was all because of that first step of just letting people know, putting it out there in the public, and it's amazing just what's come from that, and the attention that my business has gotten because of that. So, this is definitely for everyone.
Oh, yeah. It's an understatement. That's for sure. Oh my goodness. No, and that's phenomenal. And congratulations to you, because it's done so many things for you, which is phenomenal. So.
And we didn't talk about your book there, Empowering Women to Succeed. You just blew right by that. But
well, you've mentioned it before, so yeah.
Well, I want to talk about it because
Okay.
Empowering Women to Succeed, it's not just a book written by Randy, but also a number of other women and one man as well, Craig Dunkerley, and they're sharing their experience from going from trials to triumph, and it's amazing stories. And I remember your book launch that you put together for this book, and it was one of the most energetic events that I've seen even you put together, and your events are usually electric. So there was just so much pride in that room from all the co-authors, and their families were there to be a part of that special moment where a daughter could see her mother go up on stage and share her story about her process of being published, something that she never thought was even possible before. It was an amazing experience, and I definitely want to acknowledge you for providing that opportunity.
Oh, thank you.
I was involved. Yeah,
That's sweet.
Definitely. One of the most memorable events that I've ever been to.
Oh, thank you. That's so sweet. Well, I know they loved it. There were a couple of authors that were a little too shy and didn't want to go up on stage, which is fine. But the ones that did, they loved it. They couldn't wait to get up there and share their story,
Yeah.
It was awesome. And we were happy to be able to provide that platform. So that's another thing. Like, a lot of these people had never been on stage before, right? And all of a sudden they had an opportunity to go up on stage and tell a little bit about their story. So it's like a leeway into, maybe a new career. You never know, right?
Definitely. And I've seen where it's done a lot for people who've used this book to propel their careers as well. So it's definitely, yeah, it's very satisfying to see it happen, and just see the before and after results that comes from that.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So thank you for that, Greg. Miri here, who published her own book, 7 Steps to Finding and Living Your Passion, she actually published her own book. Now, she's not from Canada. She's from Israel, and she has an accent, and she decided that she wanted to make sure, because English wasn't her first language, that she wanted to make sure that what she was writing was going to be proper grammar and flow nicely and whatnot. So not only did she make sure that the topic matter that she chose was something that her target audience was asking for, not literally, but she's a coach, she's helping people, she knows what they're looking for, she knows what they want. So she knew what type of information her target audience would really be driving to have and want to read. So she already knew that. So when you are choosing to write your book, you want to make sure you have your target audience in mind. It might not be necessarily what you think you want to do. You need to
Hmm.
make sure that there's an audience for it, right?
Hmm.
That we're targeting the right people, because we want to actually be able to sell our books or have people actually read them, right? We
That's
don't just want to create them for the sake of creating them. We want to make them resourceful and useful. So that's what she did. And she wrote her book, she compiled all the pieces, the structure and everything, and then she had a professional editor. So you can either hire somebody, like we hired Jenny McKay to do our first couple of books now, which is fantastic, and she's a professional writer. You can find other professional writers. You can go to Elance, you can go to Fiverr, whatnot. Have somebody, or if you know somebody, have a professional editor go through your book. Make sure the flow is there, that the structure's there, that you're getting the message across that you really want to get across. Because sometimes we think we're writing what we think is the right message, but when somebody else reads it, they're not picking up what you think you're trying to say. So make sure that you have some professional looking through your material to make sure that it's of quality and that it flows nicely and it's a
Of course.
caliber that you want it to be at, right?
Yep.
And then she had somebody on Fiverr, Fiverr.com, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a couple minutes. She
Hmm.
had somebody there, very inexpensive, $5, $10, 15, 20. It's usually the range of what it ends up being. She had somebody create the cover for her, and
Hmm.
it's a very nice cover there, beautiful cover. And then she had somebody help her with the finishing touches, the typesetting, the setting it up in the proper format for print with the
Hmm.
book. She, of course, had to come up with the right name of the title and a subheading, something that was attractive to look at. And if you're having difficulty with that, you can always go into a bookstore and just look around and see what pops out at you. See what attracts you. See what kind of title names attract you. See what kind of cover design. So if you ever have difficulty, you can look online, fish through Amazon, but it's actually more of an impact if you actually go into the bookstore and walk around and see what pops out at you. That can give you a really good idea of things that you're attracted to or that might pop out at other people. Bring a couple friends along with you. Ask them the same thing, see what pops out for them. That'll
Hmm.
give you some great ideas. And then she uploaded it to Amazon herself. And it was so easy. And we'll get into that a little bit more as well. But it was such an easy process. She just loved it.
Definitely,
So,
definitely.
hmm,
Yeah, and one of the things that you're just alluding to here is about the title and the subtitle. So one of the mistakes that I've seen that's done on some books is someone would just make the title of the book whatever it is the book is about. However, you got to think of it in two ways. So the title has to be a really catchy headline, like really creative, right? For example, my book is called Supersize Your Business. So that's designed to grab your attention. It's a headline. So that's the right brain type of thinking, where you're thinking creatively and you're thinking not necessarily logically, but just what's spur of the moment. So when you walk through a bookstore, you'll see that a lot of titles are like that. It's all about just something that will just grab your attention, something that's so out of the ordinary. And then the subtitle is is more for description as to what the book is about. So, for example, the subtitle in my book was about um, the digital. So the title of my book is "Supersize Your Business." Now, when you look at it, you're going to say, "Oh, what's that about?" And then that's when you see the subtitle, and the subtitle says, "The Digital Marketing Guide to Transform Leads to Profits." So that puts some reasoning behind the title, and that's really important. And it has to be interesting as well, right?
Hmm.
So like you said, Randy, it has to be catchy and it has to appeal to the person that we want to read the book.
Exactly.
Hmm.
And, like Mary, for example, created it because she wanted social proof and credibility. She wanted to position herself as the expert in her field. So she chose imagery on her book that would represent more of a softer feel, more to her target audience. So she was thinking of them in mind, when she was coming up with her book cover, and of course the title, and making sure that they flowed and made sense to one another. But also in your title and in your subtitle, you can be bold, you can be questionable, you can be controversial, you can, you know, say shocking things to make
Hmm.
people go, "What?" And they look twice and then they
Hmm.
read the subtitle. Like on yours, it creates curiosity. And then you
Hmm.
read the subtitle and it's like, "Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. I want to open the book and see what's inside." But that's the whole point of marketing. The whole point of marketing is you want to make them want to read the next line, right? And open the book and get to the next part. You can use numbers in your titles. You
Hmm.
can be funny. You can make a bold promise or a bold statement. You can write about something painful,
Hmm.
right? Like there's so like just be memorable and be specific. Like let readers know what they're getting. It can be a little bit of a vagueness in the main title, and then your subtitle, you'd be more direct, like you were, in letting them know what it is that's inside the book,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you want your book to stand out, and your cover is the catchy part of it. And I know for a fact that there are organizations and groups and whatnot that can charge anywhere from like $2,500 or more to do book covers. But really, you can get a pretty wicked book cover on Fiverr
For
for
just $5.
well, it might cost you a few bucks more because you want it the next day, or you want
Yeah.
multiple versions, or you want the PSD files or
Mm.
whatnot. So maybe it'll cost you 20 bucks, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah. My book cover cost me what was it, $35, and it's because I did two book covers.
right. Yeah. Well, for sure, for sure. And so there's so many things that you could be doing there.
Hmm.
So we just wanted to show you a little picture of what it looked like when you go on Fiverr, right?
Hmm.
So here you have all the different.
Yeah, so you go there. So I'll explain it a little bit. So Fiverr is a really cool resource where it's a website, it's a membership site. So people who have skills and talent, they'll go online and they'll offer to do certain jobs for you for $5. So in our case, there's people who will create a book cover, design a book cover for us for $5. And when you go there, it's so simple. You just log in. There's like you search for what you want. If you even want to design a logo or something, you can also find someone on here to do it for you. And yeah, it's that simple. It's just not, it's not much different than just going on a job site and just searching for a job, really. Like, oh, I'm a engineer, let's search for engineering jobs. Now I go on Fiverr, I say, hey, I need a book cover done. I just type in book cover, and there pops up dozens of people who can design a book cover for me. Now, there's one key thing this is so important, and this is a rule I follow all the time. I only choose people from this site who has a 5-star rating, and
Mhm.
this rating comes from other people who, just like me and you, who are buying from folks on Fiverr. So there's a lot of people on there who have a long history of work done, and Fiverr and Fiverr asks you to rate the people that you work with. So you can easily find someone who's done over 100 jobs and have a full 5-star rating. So that's a really important thing to remember. If you want to get the best quality, just go with the person who has the best rating.
And that's for sure. And just because they have a 5-star rating, they may only have 1 or 2 people rating them. So you want to look at the number of people there who are rating them as well. And
Good
yeah,
point.
and check their, it also tells you what country they're in, so then you have an idea of when you're going to get responses back. So if you're wondering, it's been 2 hours and I haven't got a response back, but the person's from India, then chances are you might not hear for 8 hours or 10 hours or something. So keep that in mind as well, that they might be in a completely different geographic region from you.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, but a great resource. This is an incredible resource. That's for sure.
Hmm.
Now we get into the publishing part of it.
This is where most of us get stopped, eh?
Oh
This
my
is where most of
goodness.
us get stopped. It's like, oh yeah, I want to write a book, but who's gonna publish my book for me? Yeah,
Exactly.
it's not that difficult, guys.
Oh,
Bless
oh,
you.
thank
This is
you.
life, guys. Even the sneeze is real.
Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? I muted that, so my apologies. Oh my goodness.
Ah, he muted
Okay,
me.
I tried to mute it anyway. Okay, I'm so sorry. That shouldn't have happened. Okay. I totally muted that. Okay. Not good. Not a good muter. Oh well. My
Hmm.
apologies. I sneezed in your ear. Okay, so there are so many, like I'm telling you, there's so many different publishing options. So I just wanted to show you guys this little triangle here of all the different options that are there, but we're not going to go through all of these because we'd be here all day and all night. So we're going to pick just a few of them and go through those if that's okay with you guys. So we're going to focus on these 4. So you've got traditional publishing houses where you could get a signed deal. You could have a publishing house hire you, so they pay you to write. Chances are you're only going to get those if you're a well-known writer or if you've got some really great connections. That's the truth of it. It
Hmm.
is so difficult to get these positions with the traditional publishing. But the other thing is you don't own your material with these guys. They own the material. They call the shots. And there's all sorts of different levels in between where there's, shared revenue deals and whatnot, and joint venture deals and that kind of thing. But the traditional publishing houses will pay you maybe 5 or 10 grand because you're not Stephen King the last time I checked, unless he's listening. Um, and then they pay you, if you're lucky, you'll get a maximum of 10% royalty. Yep, 10%. Okay. So usually it's 5, 7, 8. If you're lucky, it's 10. So it's not a lot of money, right? It's really not a lot of money. But on the flip side, it's not costing you anything. You're not paying for any of the expenses. So there's always pros and cons. They're publishing for you, so you don't have to worry about going out and promoting the book. They do that for you. So there's a lot of pros and cons to this type of publishing. So that's one method. Then you could pay a company to publish for you. So Hay House has a division that'll publish for you. There's tons of other companies out there that can do the same.
Hmm.
And that's a great option because it might cost you a few $1,000s, but you own your material, you can control your material, You also make the royalties on your sales. You just pay a company to help publish for you, and they can also distribute for you. They can help you with the editing process. They can help you with all sorts of things, but you still have control, right? You can have a ghostwriter. What's a
Mhm.
ghostwriter, Greg?
Oh, a ghostwriter is someone who will write a book for you. So they will, well,
What?
yeah,
What?
it's crazy, right? Yeah, they will.
Somebody will write a book for me?
That's right. Yep, they exist. So
Oh, dear.
a lot of the most famous people out there who we see with books that are named, they probably never wrote a single word in that book. They have a ghostwriter,
Mm.
and the ghostwriter goes through a process of interviewing you and finding out what it is that you want to write about, what topics you want to write about, and then they'll do the writing for you, right? You don't have to be an expert in any particular thing, but they'll write for you, and you get to to have your brand associated with that work. Now, I've never used that before. However, I know it's an option that's out there when, whenever you get to that point where you feel that you want to have someone write for you.
And you know what, Greg?
Mm.
Nobody would ever know.
No, no, no one would ever know. So that's the easy way. And if you can afford it, then definitely that's the one way that you can go about it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. That would cost you a few bucks, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely,
Definitely. Yeah.
definitely.
So
And then
we
and
get to
then
the fun part.
yeah, go ahead.
So now you get to self-publish or publish it yourself,
Hmm.
which is fun. But you're doing the research. So you're putting the time in. You're figuring out what you're supposed to do, what you're not supposed to do, how do I, what steps do I have to take? Am I missing anything? It's time consuming. You have to do your research. It can be tedious at times. So if you have the time to do it, it's great. If you don't have the time to do it, then it might not be one of the options that you want to go after. But having said that, it's an awesome option because you're not paying anybody to do it for you, but you are taking on the expense and the time, but you keep all the money, right?
That's right.
So, but the other thing is you got to remember that it's a very tiny, 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 itty bitty percent, and I'm holding my fingers together, itty bitty, teeny weeny percent of authors, published authors, that actually earn a living off their book. So the chances of you earning a living off your book are next to none. Sorry to burst your bubble, but it's an incredible marketing tool, and you never know, you might just be the next chicken soup, right?
That's correct. That's correct.
You
And of
might
course,
be.
alluding to what we mentioned earlier as well, that the book is not necessarily just about, let's get to number one on the best selling list. It's about using that book to open new opportunities for you. For example, my book has opened the opportunities where I'm speaking internationally, where I'm hosting workshops, where I'm being interviewed on the radio. I've been on multiple podcasts because of my book. So so a book that sells for $20, it's fine if I'm selling it for $20, but I'd have to sell a lot of books to really make a living off that. However, if I can leverage a $20 book into a $20,000 contract, then
Mm-hmm.
now we're talking, right? So
Okay.
that's the kind of that's the kind of that's the way to think about it, right? Like, how can I use this to get my foot in the door?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and
So we're, sorry, Greg.
sorry, I was going to mention a little bit more about self-publishing as well. And the reason why I'm a big fan of self-publishing is because you no longer have to go through the gatekeepers in order to have your work be on the top websites in the world. My book's on Amazon,
Mm-hmm.
right? And your book's on Amazon. It's one of the best sellers on Amazon, Randy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you use the self-publishing option.
Yes.
And I remember when I was publishing my book in 2014, the #1 fiction author in the UK, he was
Hmm.
#1 on the best-selling list. He also self-published, so he didn't even go through the top publishing houses or anything like that. He just said, you know what, I'm gonna do this myself, and he had the brand for himself. He had that name recognition already, and just said, you know, I'm gonna skip these guys. I don't want them managing me. I don't want them telling me what chapter I should add, what I should name my chapters, all that stuff. I want to put out my work in the way that my creativity dictates that it should be put out. And that's what
Hmm.
self-publishing gives you.
Exactly. Exactly. So, the other thing it allows you to do when you self-publish is nobody forces you to print 2,000 books, right? You can print on demand, you can print one at a time, you can, just get 50 of them to keep on hand and give out at events or when you meet people or whatnot. There's no rule or regulation telling you how many books you have to print or buy. So that's an awesome option for you. Now you can use different self-publishing houses like
Mhm.
Create Space, which is connected with Amazon. So you can be selling on Amazon, and instead of having to house or distribute a couple thousand books, you can have Create Space printing on demand for you.
Mhm.
Or Balboa, which is part of Hay House, they have a self-publishing section as well. So it still costs you a little bit of money. They have different packages, but you retain your rights, you retain all of that. And then, of course, there's local ones in everybody's area. And, there's so many. All you have to do is Google it. You'll find all sorts of different options for you
Mhm.
that you can self-publish your book. Now, there's, bookbaby.com, there's blurb.com, BookLocker, Ingram Spark,
Mhm.
Lightning Source. There's like so many, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And you use createspace.com, right?
I did use Create Space, but I also had a local printer
Mhm.
print off copies for me because we had a live event as well. And of
Mhm.
course, I'm giving out books all the time. I give out books wherever I go.
Yeah.
It's a nice gift. It makes people feel good,
Mhm.
and it's awesome. People love it. They love getting gifts. Well, you love getting gifts, don't you?
Of course, I love getting gifts. I should get gifts every day.
There you go. Right? And
Mhm.
then, of course, there's the least expensive option of writing a book, which is the ebook version, right? Where you
Mhm.
don't even have to print a paperback. You can just keep it as an ebook. But if you do an ebook, still remember it's still a book. Okay, you still want to have it professionally edited. You want to have it representing you the way you'd like to be represented professionally. So make
Mhm.
sure you treat it that way. Don't just treat it because it's not a hardcover or a paperback that, oh, I don't have to, be so serious about it, because this is still representing you as a business person. Or maybe it's not even a business book, but you still want it to represent you the way you'd like to be perceived. So still make it be as professional as you can make it. And you still have to have a nice cover created. You still have to put all the same pieces together. You're just
Mhm.
eliminating the actual printing element of it.
That's right.
So, and then you can publish it to all sorts of places. Like, who wants to partner with Apple?
I do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, right? I want to partner with Apple, so I want to be able to publish my book, my ebook on iBooks, on
Mhm.
iTunes, on Kobo, on Amazon's Kindle Direct. I mean, there's like a whole slew of places that you
Mhm.
can be publishing your electronic copy of your book, right? I mean, there's hundreds of sites that you can be publishing on. Like, I can't even get through them all. It's crazy. There's so many of them.
Mhm.
But, you know, and and how can, and Greg, you're the digital marketer. Tell us an absolutely incredible way to use an ebook for their business.
Okay, a perfect way of using your ebook for your business is to use it for lead generation. So one of the things that we did for this webinar, we have an ebook version of Empowering Women to Succeed, and we offer that ebook version for free in exchange for contact information. And we once you generate a lead, then you've started a relationship with that person. Once you've gotten their email address or phone number, then you now have a context in which to speak to them. So it's a great way of you can actually leverage your ebook for generating leads, and of course, if someone gets your ebook, they've shown an interest in your business and what it is that you have to share. So once you take it from there, you can transform that into real paying customers.
Exactly. And where should they be posting that?
Where should they be posting their ebook?
Well, their promo, if they want to use it to generate leads, where
Okay,
should they be promoting that?
I would promote it anywhere where there's traffic, and that's very general, but let's get specific. I would promote it if my ebook is more geared towards, say, business owners, high level executives, then I'd be using a tool like LinkedIn. For example, that's a great way to introduce yourself to the LinkedIn market and their users. I'd be using it on Facebook, on Twitter, because people are already there and they're paying attention. And
Mm-hmm.
if you're sharing something that is of value, then they'll definitely opt in and take advantage of what you have to offer. So this is a great way to put your foot in the door with social media marketing.
Exactly. And they can even put an opt-in on their website, right? Or their
Yeah.
landing page, whatever they're using to
hmm
promote. So there's so many places that you can be generating leads from, which is fantastic. Thank you, Greg. So how do you publish your book on Amazon? Well, this is the amazing part. So first of all, you want to sign up. So go to Amazon.com, or if you're in Canada, Amazon.ca, and at the bottom there's a link to self-publish with us, and that's exactly what you're going to find. And it's underneath the Make Money with Us. So you just have to click it, and then you'll get a list of all the different Kindle. It'll say electronic version, paperback version, and you can just click to get started.
hmm
So then you want to choose your title, which you would already have. So type that in there, enter the book details, and then they'll ask you if you already have an ISBN number. And the ISBN number is a special number that every single book gets. It's a very unique number that represents your book version. So even if your book version changed, you'd end up with a new ISBN number. You can get one for free if you're using Create Space, if you already have one, or if you purchased one, or if you used a publisher and they gave you one, you'd have one, and you enter that number in there. You absolutely have to have one. And then you would choose your book category. And Amazon allows you to choose two. So in there, you're going to find the two categories that are closest to your book genre and who your target audience is. So you're going to fill in all that information. Then you're going to upload your book cover, just the cover. And then you're going to upload the actual content of your book. So make sure it's formatted properly for Amazon, and that you have both your Word version and your PDF version. And then you're going to format and preview. Amazon is going to look everything over, make sure all the sizing's right, you have all the information, whatnot, and you also get to set your price. So you can offer it for a minimal amount, or you can offer it for 20 bucks, 30 bucks, depending on whether it's a paperback, a hardback, just an electronic version. And just keep going through all the steps. You'll finalize it. Then Amazon will approve it, and then you'll be published. It might take a couple days for that whole process to finish. And so you can also put your book on KDP, which is the electronic version, the Kindle version for Amazon, and you absolutely want to have your book there. So you
Mhm.
go through that process of kdpselect.com and get your book and fill in all the information as they ask you there as well, because more exposure, you definitely want it. And you want to have both paperback and Kindle or electronic versions available, because a lot of people like to download on their electronic device. And there's some old school like me who like a hardcover or a paperback sitting in their hand and reading that way as well. So make sure you have both available so you're hitting your entire audience and not just a small niche of them.
Awesome. And one of the things that that does, I can share from my experience that that if I tell someone that I wrote a book, that they get really excited when they hear that it's on Amazon. It So the impression that I get, they take it even more seriously
Mm-hmm.
because my book is on such a large platform, and and what that does, it allows my book to be purchased anywhere in the world. So wherever I go, I can direct someone to Amazon, and Amazon has a regional site just about everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So my book is available in any country in the world. So going through that process, it's very important, from a strategic standpoint, to make yourself even more available. So what I've seen done is sometimes someone would just write a book and publish it, maybe print it with someone local, and that's fine because you can take it with you where you go. But at the same time, if you speak to someone online, they can't get the book. So
Mm-hmm.
leveraging Amazon is super important for that purpose.
Oh, absolutely. Uh,
Mhm.
if anything, be on Amazon.
Yeah, definitely. It's the largest retailer for books in the world, so
There you go.
definitely don't want to overlook them.
No, don't overlook them.
Yeah.
So, Greg and I do a course. If you're local in the Toronto GTA area or within a couple hours driving distance, or maybe we can even live stream you in if you'd like to be part of the course. But we do have a live course where we teach people how to get their book writing started and all the marketing tools to have a successful business, but also integrating website into that as well so that they learn how to use their website not just for their business but also for promoting their book
Mhm.
and using opt-ins and whatnot for that. So people actually bring their computers hands-on. They're bringing pads of papers and pens. They're having chit chats with each other and discussing. We're having table talks and whatnot. And they're actually getting their website completed, and they get to start writing their book and learning all sorts of different marketing tools on how to really explode and expand their business.
Yeah, yeah, and it's one of the things that we we thought about when we put together that course is that a lot of our business colleagues, they struggle with the tech stuff,
Mhm.
and we can help them with the tech stuff. So in our workshop, we actually teach you how to build your own website. In this, like, I spent about 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and and people in the classroom were able to build a website from scratch to completion within that time frame. So we want to show you how you can do that in your business, and how much that will actually free up your time and your resources, because you don't want to always be relying on a developer and not understand a word that they're saying to you, because they're talking about all this tech stuff. So we want to give you that power and that control where you can design what you want when you want and as many times as you want. And we'll show you how to do that. And from an author's perspective, that's really important. So, for example, I was able to use the same tools that I'm going to show you how to use. I use those same tools to build a website for my book. And the website for my book, it took me maybe an hour or so, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I spent most of my time just focused on writing my book, and then I just went on and just used the tools and made something very quickly, and it looked very professional, and uh, and I did that very quickly. So it's one way of taking the pain and the guesswork out of these really important pieces of your business. And so we want to show you how to do that.
Absolutely. So we go into a lot of depth,
Hmm.
and it's very hands-on in the course. So our next course
Hmm.
is Saturday, April 23rd, and it runs all day from 9 until 4. It's a Young and Shepherd, so it's easy to get to whether you're driving or taking the subway or the bus. It's so easy to get to. And we go through all these different pieces in the class. And you know what, Greg, I can't believe we do it for this low. But the regular price is a couple $100, and you guys can come in for only $47. Like, that's a steal. It's a
Yeah,
steal. So
definitely.
if you're interested in learning how to build a website, because yes, you'll walk away with your website, and starting to get that book out of your head and onto paper or onto the computer, and learning how to market. We go through a whole bunch of different ways of marketing, not just for books, but for your business in general. You need to be at this course. Like, it's had such a monster impact on people, and they absolutely love it. All you have to do is go to torontowomensexpo.com/fire, and you can register right there. It's so easy, and it's only $47. You get a whole day, hands-on learning, and I, I I can't even tell you. Like, people walk away with their websites and they're not tech savvy at all, and they're going, I can't believe I have a website. I can't believe, like, you can ask questions in the class. You can get opinions. You can, if you're stuck, somebody's there to help you and help you get through. So your sense of accomplishment after that is so incredible. And then when we're discussing about the titles of books and the topic matter and learning some of the steps, and I know there's so many ways to write a book, but some of the steps involved in the thinking process to start to structure a book. And of course, you can do it a lot of different ways, but we go through one particular method that'll get you thinking and learning to break down things and get them out of your head. And then we share. So if you don't have to if you're not interested, but people will share some of their ideas, but that helps the other people in the room as well to structure their thoughts. So sometimes you get stuck or you're not sure, and having that input and engagement with everybody helps. So if you don't want to share, you don't have to share. But for those that do want to share, it really helps those around them. And it helps them too, because if they're not on the right track, or if they are, they can get input from all of us in the room. And of course, learning all the different marketing tools and things that you can be implementing. And there's tons of things that you can be doing that don't cost you any money or not very much money, and you could implement them right away, right? Like, no-brainer things that you can be implementing. So it's a very engaging course. It's an amazing course. Greg and I enjoy it every single time we do it. That's why we keep doing it, and we'd love to have you there.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. It's very satisfying actually to see the results. It's funny because I where I come from, I love creating and I love I love helping others to solve problems, and I love solving problems for myself. So this is one way that I'm able to do it, and I'm able to see transformation in the room happening
Hmm.
right in front of my eyes, where someone will come in and say, "Hey, I know nothing," and they leave with not just a website, but they leave with the outline for their book, and they leave with marketing strategies that they can use, and that's really amazing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The mental income that we get from that is absolutely awesome. Knowing that we've helped so many people.
Yeah.
So, well,
So yeah,
Greg and I would
run out.
like to thank you guys so much for being on the webinar with us.
Thank you for listeing to us and being so committed. I love it.
So I hope we helped you guys and love to see you at the course. Looking forward to it. Again, it's April 23rd. It's only $47.
Hmm.
So get in there, reserve your spot because they are limited. We can only take 25 maximum. The room is just perfect for that amount of people. And we start bright and early, 9 o'clock Saturday morning, and it's an awesome day.
Yes, and by the way, if you love what you learned today, just share it with your friends. Share the link. The replay will be available, right, Randy?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so share the link as well, and we'll be doing more information sharing. So we look forward to seeing you at the others.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Greg.
Thank you, Randy. Thanks, guys.